Welcome to the Coaches Show. I'm your host, Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director, and we are here today talking to the basketball coaches at Fairview and Page High School. We're going to start with the girls coaches talking about tonight's Battle of 840 matchup. We've got Coach Wayne Mcgowan of Fairview and Ron Brock of Page High School. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me today.
Good to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Gentlemen, let me start with Coach Mcgowan. Hey, forget records, forget sport, doesn't matter. Battle of 840 is a game that not only gets your players excited, Coach Mcgowan, but also your fan bases.
That's correct. That's correct. Whether it's football, basketball, softball, it's an exciting event for us.
Coach Brock, would you agree with that? You've been a part of these games a few years.
Yeah, it's good for both programs. Also, it's good to play against good competition going in district tournament play, and this will be I know it'll be our game right before district tournament. I'm assuming it'll be Fairview's Coach McGowan's last game before tournament play. But you want some good competition, and that's one of the reasons we wanted Fairview to play.
Coach Mcgowan, your team has struggled a bit of late, but you have shown signs of being able to make some noise in that district tournament.
Yes, we have. Starting out, we've been through quite a bit of injuries, and but as of late, as you said, we have shown good signs of being able to make some noise in the district tournament.
Coach Brock, your team has been dominant really the whole season. Only one loss, coming to a very good Lebanon team. And I've said this about your team. I think it's one in which the quicker the tournament can get here, probably the better for your team. It's an experienced team, and you seem to be trending towards let's get this tournament started and see what we got in the postseason.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about that now. I mean, you want the tournament to kind of get here and to get going. You get itchy this time of the year, but we still got one more district game to play, and then we've got Fairview, and so we've got to focus on those. We never get too far ahead of ourselves, but yeah, they get itchy about this time of the year.
Coach Mcgowan, you're coming off a really magical season last year, 20-9. This year's team, you talk about the injuries and some of the struggles you've had, 7-17, 1-6 in the league. But some of that play, look, when you look at Fairview and you look at your box scores and you look at the statistics, talk about those seniors. They keep coming up. In particular, Casey Mullins, Riley Dillingham. They've been really consistent for your team this year.
Yes, they have. And they were actually part of that team last year, part of the starters. And you're right. They continue to. They don't have any quit in them. No matter how much we struggle, they keep battling.
Coach Mcgowan, when you look at your roster too, you do have 4 seniors, but in looking at your roster, you have something like 9 freshmen and sophomores. So obviously getting in the postseason, if you can get past that first round game and give some of those young people some experience, that would be big for your team.
Yes, to correct, we actually have 5 seniors, but yes, the young girls, they are getting more experience right now. We've had our freshmen. We got a really good freshman group. We lost one to injury back at the Christmas tournament, but the other ones they are showing signs right now, and the sophomore group they're really showing signs as well.
So a young group, and then as you mentioned, those 5 seniors that you have, not 4. Page. Yeah. 24-1 coming into the game with Fairview, 9-0 in league play, ranked number 1 in the AP poll in AAA. Again, we talk about, maybe being poised for that postseason tournament. Coach Brock, not Jared Street, by the way, I'm seeing on the screen here. It's Coach Brock posing as Jared Street. We'll talk to Coach Street here in just a little bit. But talk about your seniors. And listen, when you talk about names like Mackenzie Cochran, Lily Wilkin, Abigail Ward, a lot of people are probably going to show up at your graduation and bid them farewell.
Yeah, I mean they're great players. It's going to be hard to let this class go. Unfortunately, Abigail ended her season the other night with an injury, so she'll be not with us, which is going to leave a big hole in our lineup and our rotation. And we started plugging in some freshmen last night even to play. So we got a little hole right there. But that senior class is going to be going out as the winningest class in Page history. Over the past 4 years, they will have won somewhere, about 26 to 27 games a year over that 4-year span.
Yeah, certainly our hearts all go out to Abby. We hate to see her have it end this soon, but certainly she's had a great career there at Page High School. And I know she'll still be a very important part of your team, supporting her teammates, coaching her teammates up, so to speak. So we know she's still going to have a role for your team. Coach Mcgowan, if you talk about the district, really you're on a collision course in the tournament to play Harpeth. You guys split during the regular season. And again, I know we talked about it a little bit before, but if you can get past that first game, now you've got at least 3 more games for your team. That's important not only for this year's team, but also those young people you were talking about before.
That is correct. I was looking at it earlier. It looks like we are on the collision course to play Harpeth again, which both of those games were really good games. If we can get past them, it looks like we'll probably have to play Sycamore, which last night they handed it to us, but the first game we played them, they beat us 9, and it was a really good game. And actually, last night's game was really good, 4 to 6 point game up until halftime, and then after halftime is when everything went crazy. So, but yes, getting those extra games anytime you can play is going to help those younger kids.
Coach Brock, 9-0 in the league, as we talked about before. But, this is something that the folks in WCS may not know about. But let our audience know a little bit, that gauntlet that is the region that you play in. So beyond the district, talk about your region.
Yeah, that's going to be a bear. It's not easy to get through our district. We got some really good district teams, but then you go over to our other district that makes up our region, and you've got teams like White County. I think they're ranked 3rd in the state or 2nd. You got Livingston Academy, who's beat them and Upperman. Upperman's over there. You got Cumberland County, who's in the mix, who's beating all those teams. There could be a 4-way tie with that bunch over there. So it don't matter who you get, really. Matchups are crazy things and probably going to determine everything. But we gotta first take care of business in ours, and then after that, it's going to be a war.
It's really interesting if you take a look. It seems like it's especially true in girls basketball for whatever reason. Forget classes. A lot of times you'll see, and you're in 3A, Coach Mcgowan, you guys in 2, and then you've got 4A for the rest of our WCS teams. But I'm going to tell you, and I don't think anybody can argue this, the girls basketball region that Page High School's in is by far the best one that our teams are in.
Yeah, it's pretty good. There may be one in AA that's pretty good down there too, with Loretto and Town and that bunch. That would argue that they've got probably the toughest region and district, but I'd say those two are you could put those up against each other, and that would be 2 of the toughest district, 2 of the toughest regions in the state.
Go ahead, Coach Mcgowan.
I think Coach Brock is actually correct on that, because we fall into that other bear of a region with Loretto and Summertown. So, I think his region and our region is probably the best too.
And that's, you think about that. Obviously, those are 2 great regions that you play in. and they're not 4A. And, really, I don't think you can really argue it. If you're talking about the best teams in those, they can compete with anyone. And then when you talk about the depth, certainly they can too. Coach McGowan, let's talk a little bit about tonight's game. Obviously, you got a pretty tall task. Anybody does playing Page High School. What are some keys for your team? Not only that you need to focus on just getting better for your team, but also trying to slow this Page team down tonight.
It's going to be a tough task. We got to focus on us. We got to focus on doing what we do best and doing the best we can. If we can not turn over the ball and slow the game down some, but it's going to be a tall task to do. But we're up for the task.
Coach Brock, talk about, forget the game for a minute. I'm assuming it's going to be a pretty emotional senior night too.
Yeah, that'll be very emotional. More than anything, watching Abigail's walk out there and not be able to play. I'm still in a fog and trying to get over that, and it messes up your chemistry. But as far as tonight's game goes, we're not sleeping on Fairview at all. Coach McGowan does a great job. They beat Creekwood twice last year during the regular season, and they were in the state tournament. So I know he'll have them prepared and ready to go. And they beat us down there on their home court before, where we went in thinking we were pretty good. And we just got to be ready to play at a high level every time we walk on the court. And we're not taking anything for granted when we walk into Fairview.
Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you being here today. I know you're busy talking about tonight's WCTV matchup, Fairview at Page High School, the Battle of 840. Thank you again, gentlemen.
Thanks, Darrin.
Thank you.
After this short break, we'll be back to talk to the boys coaches, Trey McCoy and Jared Street.
You know the most important lesson you can teach your kids about playing sports is concussion signs and symptoms. After a hit to the head, if they have any concussion signs like blurred vision or headache, they need to stay out of play until they're checked by a healthcare professional. Play safe when it comes to concussion. When in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. This is the other thing you can teach them. Comes in handy.
Welcome back to the Coaches Show. We're now joined by the boys basketball coaches for Fairview High School, Trey McCoy, and Page High School, Jared Street, talking about tonight's Battle of 840 basketball matchup. Gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Let's start with Coach Street. Coach, welcome to the WCTV Coaches Show for your first time as the Page High School head coach. It's been fun, right?
It's been a lot of fun. What WCS does for the athletes, coaches, it's really phenomenal. Just promoting all the players, really for all of our sports. So it's been a great experience for sure.
Coach McCoy, this is a matchup a lot of people in WCS are looking forward to, not only because it's the Battle of 840, but it's kind of a final tune-up before heading to the tournament. And obviously we got two pretty good teams too.
Yes, sir. I was excited to be able to get Page on the schedule at this point in the season, because I think it's a great prep for us going into our AA play. So I'm excited to play tonight.
Coach McCoy, you're a guy, and I say this in a very positive way, you sort of like to carry the banner for WCS. I've seen you on your Twitter saying something about the other student sections and talking about, hey, we like playing these other teams. You really do like going head to head and matching up with WCS schools. You don't care about school size, which class you're in. You love it, don't you?
I love it. Yeah. And I want Fairview to be as much of a part of the bigger schools as we possibly can. We're, smaller and kind of out here on the edge, but I love this county. I love what you guys do for our sports. And I think any time that two Williamson County schools can come together, it's everybody wins. It's good.
Very well said. Coach Street, same thing for you. And again, I don't know what part you had in making your schedule, but it's just your schedule's just littered with other WCS teams, and you're not in the league with any of them.
Yeah, I mean, we played Independence, we played Franklin, we played Brentwood, now playing Fairview. I mean, that's, for instance, we played Independence non-conference game, and our kids and Independence kids, they play like it was the county championship. I mean, the rivalries among these schools is really fun. I'm excited about tonight's game. It's going to be a fun environment for sure. I know Coach McCoy's team is they're having a great year. We've really got our work cut out for us tonight.
Well, talking about that Fairview team, Coach McCoy, your team's coming in 18-5. You secured the district regular season title at 6-1, and you've got what I call a pretty interesting mix. You've got your senior leaders like Kennedy Pendergrass and Jackson Arnold, but then you've got a very talented sophomore group led by Mays McCoy, your son, who does a great job for you, playing for you, and I know that sometimes can be kind of tricky, right, for you and him both. But that mix of that senior leadership and young talent too is a pretty interesting mix.
Yeah, I've been real fortunate with this group because I've got 3 or 4 kids, seniors, juniors, and sophomores that all can play. So, and we've that's one thing we've struggled with this year is kind of finding that identity to get. That's a lot of bodies to rotate in. We've got 3 post players. We got a bunch of kids who can shoot the ball. So it's trying to get all, meld all that into something that resembles good basketball has been a little bit of a challenge, but I think in the last week or 2 we're figuring it out. So
Coach Street, I'm sure you feel sorry for Coach McCoy hearing about he's got these 10 guys he's trying to get in, right?
Yeah. But I'll tell you, we're not too different. I mean, we've kind of had a 9-man rotation pretty consistently, and we've been fortunate. I really have told our guys, hey, the beauty of our team is we can mix and match depending on what we need for that particular night. So I do understand some of the issues he just talked about. We've got 9 guys that can really play, and so really certainly understand where he's coming from.
Coach McCoy, your team ranked as high as I think number 2. I think I'm correct there in the AP poll during the year, but it's pretty interesting in hearing you talk about your team. And you've kind of talked like this for a couple of years. You've had great success in the postseason, but you always talk about, and it's kind of always on the tip of your tongue and people know it. You want to take that next step. Get to Murfreesboro, right?
Absolutely. That's the goal. My first year, we got so close. We were a rebound away. So, just being able to get that close and not get it, it leaves a hunger, in your belly. So I think we've got a great path with the realignment and the new district and all that sort of thing. Our path, I wouldn't say it's easier because it's quality teams, quality coaches, but we don't have to go through Metro. So that's a good thing. So I mean, I think most coaches will say this: the regular season is all about preparing for the season that matters. So that's we go through our bumps and we figure out what we're about, and try to get all the bad basketball out of us so that we're playing well in February.
Coach Street, your team kind of the same way in terms of gearing up for the part of the season that matters. Your 11-12 record is deceiving for a lot of reasons. Number one, you're 7-2 in league play. The second thing, and I know you're very proud of this, I saw you up there at the state football championship. You're a new coach to a new team. You're learning one another. You've got this brutal schedule to start the season. And, oh, by the way, you've got some real important guys you don't get till December.
Yeah, it's taken us a little bit to kind of get our feet under us, to kind of get a feel for how we need to play, our identity, and just a lot of credit to our kids. I mean, our kids have just shown up to work every day. We've got our football guys back. We finally have got those guys worked back in, and our schedule, our non-conference schedule, and you could include Fairview in that. It's going to pay off come playoff time for us, because there has not been a team on our schedule that you look at and you go, oh man, I wish I could play them. I mean, every team you look at, you go, well, I don't want to play those guys, but we have, and we're not going to shy away from that. I mean, we're going to go play the best that we can play. And I think it's paying off dividends for us in district play. We're 4-1 on the road in our district, and that's to trips like Lincoln County, Lawrence County. So this schedule has really helped us to be the best team that we can be as we prepare for district and region tournament.
Not only Fairview tonight, who, by the way, has a win over Independence, who a lot of people think, they're one of the best teams in 4A. So you got Fairview tonight. You've had Franklin, Columbia twice. That's a pretty darn good team. Brentwood. Your schedule, I mean, if you look around the county and really around Middle Tennessee, I can't imagine really it being any tougher.
No, and then you count playing Stewart's Creek twice, and they're second in their district behind Cane Ridge. So, we in all those games, we've had chances to win in all of them, and then on top of this past week, we've had 2 district games to kind of close out. And then we got Fairview tonight, and you look at Fairview being ranked in the top 5 in the state in AA. And, our kids, we're excited for the challenge. And we're just trying to prepare ourselves to make a deep postseason run. We think in our district, in our region, we've got a really good shot at that if we can really put things together over the next couple of weeks.
Coach Street, talk about seniors, guys like Pierce Brule, Ethan Overstreet, what they've meant to you in terms of you making that transition as the new head coach at Page High School.
They just completely bought into me as a coach, and that's hard for seniors. I think early on they were wondering, hey, it's my senior year. Do I really want to listen to the third coach in 3 years? But they have really bought in. Ryan Lane, Kason Walker, Sam Shelton, Ethan, and Pierce, as you mentioned. I mean, those guys have just shown incredible leadership. Those guys have given our program and fortunately myself everything that they could possibly give, and they come in, they go to work every day and practice. It certainly helps that all of those guys are high character kids. They want to do well, they want to play well, and I'm just really fortunate to be a part of 1 year of this group. I wish I could have coached them earlier, but really fortunate because they're such a great group of kids, and they happen to be okay at basketball too.
Again, talking tonight about tonight's matchup, Battle of 840, Fairview High School visiting Page High School, the WCTV game of the week. Coach McCoy, your team's been pretty darn dominant in district play. You got that one little blip against Harpeth. And what's interesting, and this happens sometimes, if you look at Harpeth, they're a good team, but if you look at their record, not as impressive as your record, but for whatever reason, probably a rivalry is part of that. But those games with Harpeth have been tough games. I think you get the 6-point win at home before having that loss. So at some point in your district tournament, maybe beyond, you're probably going to match up with them again.
Yeah, Harpeth plays a real physical style, and we went ice cold in the fourth quarter for whatever reason. Scored 18 points in the first quarter and went on to only score 40 points in the game. So they do a great job. Their kids get after it. They're very much like a Page. I mean, when I watch Page gets after it. So I think that's one reason I'm excited to play Page tonight. Is it's a good prep for us on a higher level. They shoot the ball well. Harpeth shoots the ball well. So there's a lot of similarities between the two programs. I think after we beat Independence, we kind of let our guard down. I think we kind of put a crown on our head a little bit. We've arrived. I saw it in practice. I told the coaches, I said, we're due a loss. And we ended up dropping 2. We dropped 1 to a very good community team as well. So I think the Harpeth game was a wake-up call. I've seen practices the competition tick up quite a bit in practice, and it seems like it's translating on game night.
Coach McCoy, and you mentioned that game, and I wanted to mention this earlier and didn't. When you talk to anybody that was at that game that you had with Independence, that was a pretty electric crowd there at Fairview that night.
Oh, it was exciting. It was fun. We had a great crowd, and some of the Mays and Jet both play on the same Stars AAU team, so they both wanted to beat each other. So it had a vibe of a championship game. It really did. I was a little surprised because everyone knew going into the game, Independence is one of the best teams in Williamson County. And with us being AA, I think probably most bets would have been we probably wouldn't have competed. But our boys played real well. They played well. It was just a heck of a ball game.
Well, it was one of those games. I think the final score was something like 73-69. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of offense. It was just one of those games that really is what makes WCS special.
Oh, absolutely. It was high school basketball at its best. It really was. And for it to be inter-county, it was that much better. So,
All right, gentlemen, appreciate you being here. Let me finish up with this final thought for both of you. Coach Street, you're having an opportunity, your first battle of 840. I know you've been pleased at playing these in-county games in terms of the atmosphere. What do you need to do tonight to slow down Fairview High School?
You know, for us, we talk a lot about making sure defensively we contest open threes and we keep guys out of the paint. So, you know, we just hope that tonight we can do a really good job defensively of contesting Fairview from the 3-point line and keeping them from getting to the paint. And then, you know, offensively, we talk a lot about attacking the paint, you know, and so if we do those things, I think we'll have a chance to be pretty successful tonight.
Coach McCoy, how about for the Yellow Jackets?
oh, he took it right out of my playbook. They're very much like us. They have two guys they lean on, but on any given night they could have five guys with double digits. So we've stressed defense all year, keeping guys out of the paint, contesting every shot, running when we can, playing inside, outside. So I think it's going to be a heck of a ball game.
Well, gentlemen, we're looking forward to it. Again, tonight's WCTV Game of the Week. Fairview will visit Page High School, the Battle of 840. Thanks again for being here, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Darren.
Thank you for joining us for the Coaches Show. We'll see you next time.